What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Chief This Sunflower. Y'all come on in the room, tap those hearts. Today, you can see from the title, we will be reading the first charter of Virginia, 1606, the blueprint to control. So if you don't like reading, you might want to keep strolling. All right. I think this is going to be a very interesting topic. I have read this earlier. Oh no, my lights. My light. My lights. Thank you guys for watching. Sending love to the ancestors. OCO to all my Niji. Alright, sending love to the ancestors and the Niji this morning. Well, not this morning, this tonight. So today we are not dealing with opinions. We're not dealing with, social media takes. We're going straight to the source today, right? This is a document written in 1606. So it was written before colonizers, pilgrims, pirates, whatever you want to call them, came over to America and invaded this land of the autochthonous Indian melanated Amerindians. Okay? Now, this document was backed by the crown. Some of y'all heard of the crown. They think that they're royal. A lot of people look up to the crown. I don't. Let's just set the record straight. And King James the First of England. They're the one who wrote this, and it's called the First Charter of Virginia. It is kind of not that long, but we're going to read it anyway. So, what makes this powerful is simple. This isn't a story about what people think happened. This is what was authorized to happen. And there is a big difference. We're talking about land claims today. We're talking about power. And yes, we're going to touch on language around labor, control, and human systems that later evolved into what we recognize as chattel structures. Yes, chattel slavery. CHATTEL. Make sure you remember that word because you've always heard that word when it's talking about oppression, when we're talking about historical facts of enslavement, and how colonizers view actual human beings who are melanated and organic to this land. They called them chattel. Okay? So today we're reading it together, and I want you to ask yourself one question. If this was the blueprint, what was the outcome supposed to be? Now make sure you go ahead and smash that subscribe button, tap in, like the video, comment, and let me know your thoughts. Alright? Before we get into the document, and let me catch y'all up over here on YouTube. Wrong document. Hold on. Where is my documents? Before we get into the document, I gotta catch y'all up. Hold on. So let me know how y'all feeling today as I set up my YouTube family with the proper information. So now y'all caught up and everybody on the same page. So what you see attached before us today is the first charter of Virginia from April the 10th, 1606. Right? And that's what we're going to be reading. It authorized companies like the Virginia Company of London to settle on our land. I don't know how the hell immigrants created documents to settle on somebody else's land, but this is what they was doing. Extract resources this gave them the permission from the crown some kind of way to establish governance on a whole nother people's land. It reflects how European powers legally justified their expansion using straight brutal violence. It was no other way to put it but straight violence. Okay, and this is coming from the crown, guys. Remember, this document is coming from the crown. Okay? This document represents how colonization was structured and justified, not the full lived experience of everyone involved, but it's just where you get the structure from. All right? While we're reading this, pay attention to words like chattel, as I mentioned earlier, plantation, inhabit, and possess. Because basically what they're saying is if you were not a white male Christian prince, which is why the Christians get a little offended when we talk about Christianity, but these people use Christianity to come and invade land, unallow people who did not believe in what they believed. We have talked about Amerigo Vespucci, Christopher Columbus, all of these different people who were immigrants, very violent, very psychotic, and only wanted to steal land and erase the people that were here. But guess what? We still here. We didn't go nowhere. We still glowing. We still here. We still here. Okay? Alright, so let's dive in. Let's not waste no more time, and let's get to reading. Let's get into this document. Now, I'm going to just be reading. I have it pulled up here in case you want to read it for yourself. Let me know if I get in the way, but this is from the Yale Law School Lillian Goldman Law Library. They have all type of documents in this law library. It's called the Avalon Project. You can find documents from ancient 4000 BCE to 399, medieval times to 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st century. And a lot of these documents are talking about colonizing us. So we just talking about the first one, and I read this because I was interested to see how they actually made a document talking about trafficking us. Hello. Okay. So let's get into this Charter of Virginia. Now I'm going to be reading, so let's go to the first paragraph at the top here. Boom. You see right there. James, well, before we get into it, you'll notice they talk about God a lot. They talk about Christianity a lot when all they're trying to plan to go and unalive and steal people's land. You'll notice that a lot. You'll notice they talk about plantations and how they talk about the people who are already there and how they, gonna traffic things. So, but I'm done talking. Let's just read now. So get you something to drink, Get you a little snack. I know this is bad, but I got me some Famous Amos today. All right, I see you joining the supporters club. All right, y'all, I'm about to read, so let's knock this out. Oh, maybe this light is blinding me. All right, James, by the grace of God, King of England, Scotland, France, and Ireland, defender of our faith, and whereas our loving and well-disposed subjects, Sir Thorne Asgale and Sir George Somers, Knight, Richard Hawklett, Clerk Prebendary of Westminster, and Edward Maria Wingfield, Thomas Henham and Raleigh Gilbert, Esquire, William Parker, and George Popham. And maybe I can see better without the glasses on, so let's take them off. Gentlemen and divers others of our loving subjects have been humble suitors unto us, that we would vouchsafe unto them our license to make habitation, plantation, and to deduce a colony of sundry of our people into that part of America commonly called Virginia. other parts and territories in America, either appertaining unto us or which are not now actually possessed by any Christian prince or people situate, lying, or being all along the seacoast, between 4 and 30 degrees of northerly latitude from the equinoctial line, and 5 and 40 degrees of the same latitude in the mainland between the same 4 and 30 and 5 and 40 degrees. The islands hereunto adjacent and within 100 miles of coast thereof. That's the first paragraph. Moving on to the second paragraph. And to that end, and for the more speedy accomplishment of their said intended plantation and habitation, there are desirous to divide themselves into 2 several colonies and companies. So the colonies were companies chartered by the crown, basically. The one consisting of certain knights, gentlemen, merchants, and other adventurers of our city of London and elsewhere, which are and from time to time shall be joined unto them, which do desire to begin their plantation and habitation in some fit and convenient place, between 4 and 30 and 1 and 40 degrees of said latitude, alongst the coast of Virginia, and the coast of America aforesaid, and the other consisting of sundry knights, gentlemen, merchants, and other adventurers of our cities Bristol and Exeter, and of our town Plymouth. You heard Plymouth Rock. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock land on us. Well, there's that word, Plymouth. And other places which do join themselves unto that colony, which do desire to begin their plantation and habitation in some fit and convenient place between 8 and 30 degrees and 5 and 40 degrees of the said latitude, all along the coast of Virginia and America, as that coast lieth. Right? Okay. Moving right along. We greatly commending and graciously accepting of their desires for the furtherance of so noble of work, which may by the providence of Almighty God hereafter tend to the glory of his divine majesty in propagating of Christian religion to such a people. Let me calm down. As yet live in darkness and miserable ignorance of the true knowledge and worship of God, and may in time bring the infidels and savages living in those parts to human civility, and to be a settled and quiet government. Do by these our letters patents graciously accept of and agree to their humble and well-intended desires. Now we're going to pause on this paragraph real quick. Like, this is the third paragraph right there. You see right here, they said they want to propagate. You remember yesterday we talked about propaganda. We talked about you being distracted. We talked about how all these things with the colonization and the war and all of this stuff is keeping you distracted. They said in propagating of Christian religion to such a people, they call our ancestors who was already here before them, they said they were living in darkness. They were miserable and ignorant to the true knowledge. They were infidels and savages, right? Because we were not white male Christian princes. All right, let's carry on. But hey, we just reading the facts here. Because some people always say, oh, you need to read. No. I read. And what I read, I'm not pleased with. That's why I will never let a colonizer tell me who the fuck I am. Right? Just can't happen anymore. I like to read who you are. What the government was built on. So I can make better decisions about my life and not be bogged down by racism, white supremacy, or nothing else going on. Because I understand where it's coming from. Let's carry on. So now we on this other paragraph down here. You probably can't really see it, but Maybe I should move over a little bit. It says, and do therefore for us, our heirs and successors, grant and agree that the said Sir Thomas Gates, Sir George Somers, Richard Hocklet, and Edward Maria Wingfield, adventurers of and for our city of London, and all such others as are or shall be joined unto them of that colony, shall be called the first colony. And they shall and may begin their said first plantation and habitation at any place upon the said coast of Virginia of America, where they shall think fit and convenient between the said 34 and 140 degrees of the said latitude, and that they shall have all the lands. Get this now, they told them, the crown said, oh, they're going to come over here. They wrote this chart. This is what they said. They're going to have all the lands. Okay? I should have never stopped because now I got lost. It said, and they shall have all the lands, the woods, the soil, the grounds, havens, ports, rivers, mines, minerals, marshes, waters, fishes, commodities, and hereditaments, whatsoever from the said first seat of their plantation and habitation by the space of 50 miles of English statute measure, all along the said coast of Virginia and America, towards the west and southwest, as the coast lieth, with all the islands within 100 miles directly over against the same sea coast, and all the lands, soil, grounds, havens, ports, rivers, mines, minerals, woods, waters, marshes, fishes, and commodities and hereditaments, whatever from the said place of their first plantation and habitation for the space of 50 like English miles, all along the said coast of Virginia and America, towards the east and northeast, and towards the north as the coast lieth, together with all the islands within 100 miles, directly over against the said sea coast, and all the lands, woods, soils, grounds, havens, ports, rivers, mines, minerals, marshes, waters, fishes, commodities, and hereditaments, whatever from the same 50 miles every way of the sea coast directly into the mainland by the space of 100 like English miles, and shall and may inhabit and remain there, and shall and may also build and fortify within any the same, for their better safeguard and defense, according to their best discretion and the discretion of the council of that colony. Right? And that no other of our subjects shall be permitted or suffered to plant or inhabit behind or on the backside of them towards the mainland without the express license or consent of the council of that colony, thereunto in writing first had and obtained. Now I know these words sound crazy, but if you see what they're saying, they telling them that, hey, we the crown, we giving you permission to go invade this land because it's not inhabited by what? White male Christian prince. They said that in the beginning. It said the people over there, because if they view indigenous people who were minding their damn business as savages and infidels and living in darkness. So if you gonna stay asleep, then don't be trying to put me to sleep with your ass. This is why I read. Some people don't read. They would never read this. They're not going to read this because they're going to like the 1600s. Why do I want to read that? Because it got something to do with what's going on now. You see the colonizers have the oceans locked down. You got to have a license to get to the fish. They even claim the fish, guys. They even colonize the fish in their bird brain. They said we taking the fish, the water, anything that they found, even the people here, and they turn them into chattel. But let's continue on because I don't want to talk too much just yet. I just have to give you guys a little bit of disclaimer because they're going to keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. All right? Let's see if y'all have this on the screen. And like we do our heirs. Alright, so let me catch y'all up and pull up the new one. I think it's this one. It's kind of hard to read because it's so small, but you know. Anywho, and the next paragraph. And we do likewise for us, our heirs and successors, by these presents grant and agree that the said Thomas Henham and Raleigh Gilbert, William Parker, and George Popham, and all others of the town of Plymouth in the county of Devon and elsewhere, which are shall be joined unto them of that colony, shall be called the second colony. So they talked about the first colony. Now they saying, hey, we're going to have another colony. And that they shall and may begin their said plantation and seat of their first abode and habitation at any place. It said they could take any place upon the said coast of Virginia in America, where they shall think fit and convenient, between 8 and 30 degrees of the said latitude, and 5 and 40 degrees of the same latitude. And that they shall have all. So people don't get, they be like, how they just came. Listen, this is bird brain, psychotic, crackhead type thinking and writing. I mean, how else do you think about it? They really took the papal bulls and said, hey, if they're not Christians, then you could take all of their land. So people wondering why their land got taken is because you were not Christian at the time. They turned you into a Christian and then they still took the land. Okay. It says, now they should have again all the lands, the soils, havens, ports, rivers, mines, minerals. It's talking about they claiming everything. The woods, the marshes, the waters, the fishes, the commodities and hereditaments, and whatsoever from the first seat of their plantation and habitation, by the space of 50 like English miles, as it is aforesaid, all along the said coast of Virginia, and all Rarica towards the south and southwest. Towards the west and southwest, and towards the south, as the coast lieth, in all the lands within 100 miles directly over the said sea coast, and all the lands, soils, grounds, havens, ports, rivers, mines, minerals, woods, marshes, waters, fishes, commodities, and hereditaments, whatever from the said place of their first plantation and habitation, for the space of 50 like miles, and all along the coast of Virginia in America, towards the least and northeast, and towards the north as the coast lieth, and all the islands also within 100 miles directly over the same sea coast, and also the lands, soils, grounds, havens, rivers, ports, all of the land, havens, rivers, ports, rivers, woods, mines, minerals, marshes, waters, fishes, commodities, hereditaments, whatsoever from the same 50 miles every way on the sea coast, directly into the mainland, and by the space of 100 like English miles, and shall and may inhabit and remain there, and shall and may also build and fortify within any the same for their better safeguard, according to their best discretion, and the discretion of that colony, and that none of the subjects shall be permitted or suffered to plant or inhabit behind or on the back of them towards the mainland without express license of the council of the colony, in writing thereunto first had and obtained. All right. I think we on number 2 now, but so that's what that is saying. So basically, guys, what they're saying is they made a charter for them to come and take anything they saw, from the land to the fishes to, they named it over and over and over and over again. And you'll find that constantly in this document. They're going to keep naming things over and over again, the things that they tell them, hey, you could go and invade this land. We giving you permission. They're not Christians. We finna turn them into civil Christians. This is what they said in 1606. Right? Let's carry on to the next paragraph. We have provided all ways. Now you see provided all ways in the center here. So I'm going to take my face off and let you read. All right. Provided always in our will and pleasure herein, that the plantation and habitation of such of the said colonies as shall last plant themselves as aforesaid shall not be made within 100 like English miles of the other them. The first begin to make their plantation as aforesaid. They just be using all kind of crazy words. It says, and we do also ordain, establish, and agree for us, our heirs and successors, that each of the said colonies shall have a council, which shall govern and order all matters and clauses which shall arise, grow, and happen to, or within the same several colonies, according to the laws, ordinances, and instructions as shall be in that behalf, given and signed with our hand, and or signed manual and passed under the privy seal of the realm of England, each of which council shall consist of 13 persons to be ordained, made, and removed from time to time, according as shall be directed and comprised in the same instructions, and shall have several seals for all the matters that shall pass or concern the same councils. Each of which seals shall have the king's arms engraver on one side thereof, and his portraiture on the other, and that the seal of the council of said first colony shall have engraver round about on the one side these words: Sigillum Regis Magnum Britannia Francia Hibernae. And on the other side, this inscription round about: Pro Concilio Prima Colony Virginia, and the seal of council of the said second colony shall have also engraven round about one side thereof aforesaid words: Sigillium Regis Magnum Britannia Francas Hibernae, and on the other side, Pro Concilio Prima Colony Virginia. Okay, they saying to put this on the documents, right? The next paragraph at the bottom, and that also there shall be a council established here in England, which shall in like manner consist of 13 persons, to be for that purpose appointed by us, our heirs and successors, which shall be called our Council of Virginia, and shall from time to time have the superior managing and direction only of and for all the matters that shall or may concern the government, as well of the said several colonies, as of and for any other part or place within the aforesaid precincts of 4 and 30 and 5 degrees aforementioned, which council shall in like manner have a seal for matters concerning the councils and colonies, with the like arms and portraiture as aforesaid, with this inscription, saying the same thing over and over again: engraver round on the other side, on one side, Sigillum Regis Magnae Britannia Francas Hibernae, and round on the other side, Pro Concilio for Virginia. So let's see what these words mean, because they keep saying this over and over again. So I want to see what they mean really quick before we continue. Let's see. It says these words that you see that we were just reading in here, It says the inscription you're referring to is part of the first charter of Virginia, which we are reading the first charter of Virginia, issued by King James I in 1606. The charter granted the Virginia Company the right to establish a colony in Virginia. What? And other territories along the Atlantic coast. The inscription includes the names of key figures involved in such charters, such as Sir Thomas Gates, Sir George Somers, and outlines the company's desire to colonize the area for the purpose of spreading Christianity and establishing a settlement. All right? So their whole purpose was to spread Christianity and establish a settlement, y'all. Are we not understanding or no? Were you understanding or no? That was their purpose. Come on, man. Let's keep going on. Let's keep going on. Let's keep moving on. I hope you can see this next part. We're at the bottom. It says, and moreover, maybe I need to go to the next screen. There we go. No, we're not there yet. Let's go back here. And moreover, we do grant and agree for us, our heirs and successors, that the said several councils of and for the said several colonies shall and lawfully may by virtue hereof from time to time without any eruption of us, our heirs and successors, give and take order to dig, mine, and search for all manner of mines of gold, silver, copper, as well as any part of the said several colonies, as the said mainlands on the backside of the same colonies, and to have, it got have in big letters, and enjoy the gold, silver, copper to be gotten thereof, to the use and behoof of the same colonies and the plantations thereof, yielding therefore to us, our heirs and successors, the fifth part only of the same gold and silver, and the 15th part of the same copper, so to be gotten or had as is aforementioned without any other manner of profit or account, to be given or yielded to us, our heirs, successors, for or in respect of the same. Now, what this is saying is, hey, you guys we're using our company. You're going to go over here and colonize these people, turn them into Christians. Anything that you find is yours. Whatever land you got is all yours. The gold, the fish, everything is yours. But whatever you find with gold and silver, we're going to take that back. And I think once they came over here, the colonizers, and they realized they had to send all this gold back, they had to send it all back to the crown. Eventually, it started beef with them, because they like, we over here doing all this work, unaliving all of these people, stealing their land, doing sneak attacks, doing slave raiding, doing all of these things, and we got to send it back. Then they had the War of 1812, which is way later. But right now, we talking about this document. So let's continue on. All right. It says, and that they shall or lawfully may establish or cause to be made a coin to pass current there between the people of those several colonies, and for more ease or traffic and bargaining between and amongst them and the natives there, of such metal and in such manner and form, as the said several councils there shall limit and appoint. Now, see, this is 1606. They're talking about Christopher Columbus discovered America, but they, even in this document, talking about the natives there. They wanted to be able to traffic the natives using the coins that they were going to create as a currency. Right? Pay attention. They already just mentioned the word trafficking for the first time in relations to the money. Let's keep going on. It says, and we do likewise for us, our heirs and successors, by these presents, give full power and authority to the Sir Thomas Gates, Sir George Somers, Richard Hawklett, Edward Maria Wingfield, Thomas Hanham, Riley Gilbert, William Parker, and George Popham, and to every of them, and to the said several companies, plantations, and colonies, that they and every of them shall and may at the same, shall and may at all and every time in times hereafter have, take, and lead in the said voyage, and for and towards the said several plantations, colonies, and to travel thitherward, and to abide and inhabit there in every the said colonies and plantations, such and so many of our subjects as shall willingly accompany them and any of them in the said voyages and plantations. They were just writing shit. Just writing anything. Keep repeating themselves, just writing stuff. Just somebody should have took the pen. With sufficient shipping and furniture of armor, weapons, ordnance, powder, victual, and other things necessary for the said plantation, and for use and defense there, provided always that none of the said persons be such as shall hereafter be specifically restrained by us, our heirs or successors. Moving right along. Let's go to the next one. Okay. It says more. It says, moreover, we do by these presents for us, our heirs and successors, give and grant license unto said Sir Thomas Gates, Sir George Somers, Richard Hawklett, Edward Maria Wingfield, Thomas Hanham, Riley Gilbert, William Parker, and George Popham, and to every of the said colonies that they and every of them shall and may. It seems like I'm reading the same thing, but I'm not. Shall and may from time to time and at all times forever hereafter for their several defenses encounter, expose, repel, resist, as well by sea as by land, by all ways and means whatsoever, all and every such person or persons as without the especial license of the said several colonies and plantations shall attempt to inhabit within the said several precincts and limits of said several colonies and plantations, or any of them, or that shall enterprise or attempt at any time hereafter the hurt, detriment, or annoyance of the said several colonies or plantations. All right, moving right along, we at giving and granting, the second paragraph. Giving and granting by these presents unto the said Sir Gates. I can't. This is why people don't read, because you got to keep reading the same names over and over again. And I feel like if I read and I skip it, I'm going to skip something, so I'm just going to read it. Anywho, giving and granting by these presents unto the said Sir Thomas Gates, Sir George Somers, Richard Hawklett, Edward Maria Wingfield, Thomas Hanham, Riley Gilbert, William Parker, and George Popham, and their associates of the said second colony, and to every of them from time to time and at all times forever hereafter, power and authority to take and surprise. Y'all hear that? It's getting deep. It's getting deep. It said they giving them the authority to take and surprise. If you know what a slave raider was, these were people who would seek, attack the indigenous people. So your ancestors sleep. We already civilized. We ancient people. We over here, on our land, tending to the land, doing all of these different things, agriculture, mound building. And these people over here writing on paper that they planning to come and take by surprise, pay attention, getting ready to traffic and all these different things on a land that they're not from. Immigrants now. Okay? I'm not going to stop again. I'm just going to read this paragraph all the way through. It says, Power and authority to take in surprise by all ways and means whatsoever, all and every person and persons with their ships, vessels, goods, and other furniture, which shall be found trafficking into any harbor or harbors, creeks or place within the limits or precinct of several colonies and plantations, not being of the same colony until such time as they being of any realms or dominions under our obedience shall pay or agree to pay to the hands of the treasurer of that colony, within whose limits and precincts they shall so traffic. $2.50 upon every 100 of anything sold by them, trafficked, bought. Hold on, let me go back over. Trafficked, bought, or sold, and being strangers and not subjects under our obeisance, I think they meant obedience, until they shall pay 5 upon every 100 of such wares and merchandise as they shall traffic, buy, or sell within the precincts of said several colonies, wherein they shall so traffic, buy, or sell as aforesaid, which sums of money or benefit as aforesaid, for and during the space of 21 years. Next ensuing the day hereafter shall be wholly employed to the use, benefit, and behoof of said several plantations, where such traffic shall be made. Let me just pause right there. You see that in this paragraph down here? Right here. Right up in there. Come on now. They said if you're going to be trafficking on the plantation, you have to pay us. It get deeper, y'all. Just pay attention. This is why they want to hide everything in a book, because if you don't read, you're going to really be thinking, oh no, this was never the plan. Oh no, this was a plan to traffic us for life and make us labor and work on our own damn land. All because we was not white male Christians. And they said because you wasn't a Christian, their whole goal was to come over here and turn you to a Christian. Now my thing is, if you have woke up out of the, whatever spell they had us under, do you see how they have people still under that spell? Their whole goal, a lot of people are so asleep under their goal, so they could do all of these things they talk about, and you won't even know because they got you under the spell of Christianity. And I don't care how you feel. It just is what it is. This is what they said, not me. That they was finna traffic you on the plantation, on your own land. They claiming land. They didn't care who was there. They said they owned the fish, the water, the lake, the creek, the pond, anything they saw. So if you was there when they came, that's why you get Jamestown, the Pocahontas story, all these stories. This is where they came. Jamestown, Plymouth, all these words. Yeah, you heard it before. Say we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. This is where they get that from. Okay, let's keep going on. It says, next ensuing the day hereof shall be wholly employed to the use, benefit, and behoof of said several plantations, where such traffic shall be made. And after the said 21 years ended, the same shall be taken to the use of us, our heirs and successors, by such officers and ministers as by us, our heirs and successors, shall be thereunto assigned and appointed. Moving right along. Now, in this next paragraph, we get the word chattel. You'll see the word chattel pop up. I'm just trying to make sure I'm at the right part. I think I'm still here. But let me just put it down. Let me just put that here. All right. So it says, and we do Further, by these presents for us, our heirs and successors, give and grant unto the said Sir Thomas Gates, Sir George Somers, Richard Hackler, Eric Marie Wingfield, and their associates of the said first colony and plantation, and to the said Thomas Henham, Raleigh Gilbert, William Parker, and George Popham, and their associates of the said second colony and plantation, that they and every of them by their deputies, ministers, and factors may transport goods, chattels. Okay? So why do you think they would name you a chattel versus a POW? Because if they name you chattel according to the crown, you're their property. All right? But they fucked around and find out that we wasn't going nowhere. That's why we are still here, waking up and realizing who the hell we are, man. We're not your chattel. This is just bird brain, psychotic, crackhead talk, okay? They was just writing anything down. Chattel, armor, munition, and furniture needful to be used by them for their said apparel, food, defense, and otherwise in respect of the said plantations out of our realms of England and Ireland and all our other dominions from time to time, for and during the time of 7 years, next ensuing the date hereof, for the better relief of said several colonies and plantations, without any custom, subsidy, or other duty unto us, our heirs or successors, to be yielded or paid for the same. As we do for us, our heirs and successors, declare by these presents that all and every persons being subject which shall dwell or inhabit within every or any of the said several colonies and plantations, and every of their children which shall happen to be born within any of the limits and precincts of the said several colonies and plantations, shall have and enjoy all liberties, franchises, immunities within any of our other dominions, all to all intents and purposes, as if they had been abiding or born within the realm of England or any other of our said dominions. So it's basically saying they was protecting their kids. If they was born there, it was just like they was born in England. All right, moving right along. Moreover, our gracious will and pleasure is, and we do by these presents for us, our heirs and successors, declare and set forth that if any person or persons shall be, any persons which shall be of any of the said colonies and plantations, or any other which shall trick to the said colonies and plantations, or any of them shall at any time or times hereafter transport any wares, merchandise, commodities out of any of our dominions with a pretense, to land, sell, or otherwise dispose of the same within any of the limits and precincts of any of the said colonies and plantations. And yet, nevertheless, being at sea, or after he have landed the same within any of the said colonies and plantations, shall carry the same into other foreign country, with a purpose there to sell or dispose of the same without the license of us, our heirs and successors, in that behalf first had and obtained, that then all in goods and chattels of such persons or persons so offending and transporting together with the said ship or vessel wherein such transportation was made, shall be forfeited to us and our and successors. It says, provided always in our will and pleasure is, and we do hereby declare to all Christian kings, princes, and states, that if any person or person shall hereafter be of any of the said several colonies and plantations, or any other by his, their, or any of their license and appointment shall at any time or times hereafter rob or spoil by sea or land, or do any act of unjust and unlawful hostility to any of the subjects of us, our heirs or successors, or the subjects of any king, prince, ruler, governor, or state, being then in the league or almighty to us, our heirs, successors, that upon such injury and upon just complaint of such prince, ruler, governor, or state or subjects, we, our heirs, successors, shall make open proclamation within any port of our realm of England, commodious for that purpose, that the said persons having committed such a robbery. Now they talking about committing robbery. Now this is the thing that I don't get. They're talking about, I don't know where we are, but they're talking about committing robbery and how you can get in trouble just from the prince or the king complaining, but they came over here to steal land. Robbery in itself, this whole document is talking about robbery. It's kind of crazy, right? That the said person or persons having committed such robbery or spoil shall within the term to be limited by such proclamations make full restitution. It's funny how they talking about restitution while they coming to steal our shit. Or satisfaction of all such injuries done, so as the said princes or others so complaining may hold themselves fully satisfied and contented. And if the said person or persons having committed such robbery or spoil shall not make or cause to be made satisfaction accordingly within such time to be limited, that then it shall be lawful to us, our heirs and successors, to put the person or persons having committed such robbery or spoil and their procurers, abettors, and comforters out of our allegiance and protection. And that it shall be lawful and free for all princes and others to pursue with hostility the said offenders and every of them, and every of their procurers, aiders, abettors, and comforters in that behalf. So you can see some of the law in that aiding and abetting type stuff. Then it says, okay, we at this last page here. And we read the whole document almost. It says, and finally, we do us, our heirs and successors, agree to and with the said Sir Thomas Yates, Sir George Somers, Richard Hacklett, Edward Maria Wingfield, and all others of the said first colony, that we, our heirs and successors, upon petition in the behalf to be made, shall by the letters patent under the great seal of England give and grant unto such persons their heirs, their heirs and assigns, as the council of the colony or the most part of them shall for the purpose nominate and assign all lands, tenements, and hereditaments which shall be within the precinct limited for that colony as is aforesaid, to be holden of us, our heirs and successors, as the manor of East Greenwich in the county of Kent, in free and common sockage only, and not capite. Last two paragraphs says, and do in like manner grant and agree for us, our heirs, successors, to and with the said Thomas Hanham, Raleigh Gilbert, William Parker, George Popham, and all others of the said second colony, that we, our heirs and successors, upon petition in the behalf to be made, shall by the letters patent under the great seal of England give and grant unto such persons their heirs and assigns, as the council of the colony or most part of them shall for that purpose nominate and assign all lands, tenements, and hereditaments which shall be within the precincts limited for that colony, as is aforesaid, to be knotted of us, our heirs and successors, as our manor of East Greenwich in the county of Kent, in free and common sockage only, and not in capite. All which lands, tenements, hereditaments, so to be passed by said several letters patents How? How y'all making patents up for other people's shit across the water? Boy. Plantations of said several colonies and such shall make their plantations in either of the said several colonies in such manner and form, and for such estates as shall be ordered and set down by the council of the said colony, or the most part of them respectfully, within which the same lands, tenements, hereditaments shall lie and be, although express mention of the truly yearly value and certainty of the premises, or any of them, or of any gifts or grants by us or any of our progenitors or predecessors. To the aforesaid Sir Thomas Kent, Sir George Somers, Kent, Richard Haklett, Edward Maria Wingfield, Thomas Hanham, Raleigh Gilbert, William Parker, George Popham, or any of them heretofore made, in these presents is not made, or any statute, act, ordinance, provision, proclamation, restraint to the contrary hereof had made, ordained, or any other thing, cause, or matter whatsoever, in any wise notwithstanding. In witness whereof we have caused these our letters to be made patent. Witness ourselves at Westminster, the 10th day of April, the 4th year of our reign of England, France, Ireland, and of Scotland, the 9th and 13th. Okay? So when you hear the England Charter, the Virginia Company, this is how those companies were formed off the backs of our ancestors. They just wrote shit down and repeated what they wrote. It's very hard to read through these type of documents, but how can we learn if we don't challenge ourselves and read the things that they don't expect you to read? So in this, you saw them talking about plantations and colonies over and over and over and over again, talking about owning the land, the water, the trees, the birds, the fish, and that if they came over here and built the colony, which they colonized the whole country, now you need their license for permission to do things on your own soil. You need their license to drive. You need their license for everything. You are not good on your own if you're not a white male Christian prince. They think that you're a savage. And even some of our people converted to Christianity, they still think you a savage. You know what I mean? That just makes you weaker in a colonizer's mind. So I know that was really, really like a lot, but I've been wanting to read this to the audience for a long, long time. So I know TikTok, we're not used to doing all that reading, or even on YouTube. But how can we continue to go forward without taking a step back and looking at how we got here in the first place? So they have something on Yale.edu. It's called avalon.law.yale.edu. That's where I got this from. You can find all of these documents. Let me just show y'all the site. So you can see at the top, they have all the documents, the yellow part at the top. You can go from any time period, any century. And I was in the 17th century. I wanted to know what happened when they first came over here. And if you click on the 17th century on this page, hold on, let me pull it up. Let me pull it up for y'all. Let me see. Let me show y'all what I'm talking about. If you're watching on TikTok, I can't really show you. It's easier to show you if you're on YouTube. But if you go to the top of this, you'll see all the document collection. You know, the Barbary treaties, they have all these documents on here. The Cold War, they have ancient documents. You know, I didn't even look through half of this stuff, but a lot of ancient documents in here. You have the medieval documents. I'm not really into medieval things right now, but now I'm getting deeper into it, you know. Oh, the Bull of Pope. Oh, wow, the Bull of Pope Adrian the Fourth. What? Empowering Henry to conquer Ireland. It's just some crazy stuff in here, guys. I just landed on one of the papal bulls from 1155 AD. Let me take this down because we're done with that. It says 1155 AD. That is crazy. Bishop Adrian, servant of the servants of God, sends his dearest son in Christ, the illustrious King of England, of the English, greeting and apostolic benediction. Laudably and profitably enough thy magnificent thinks of extending thy glorious name on earth, and of heaping up rewards of external felicity in heaven, inasmuch as, like a good Catholic prince, thou dost endeavor to enlarge the bounds of the church, to declare the truth of the Christian faith to ignorant, barbarous nations, and to extirpate the plants of evil from the field of the Lord. The Pope writing this now. He said, in order to better perform this, thou dost ask the advice and favor of the apostolic see, in which work the more lofty the counsel and the better the guidance by which thou dost proceed. So much more do we trust that by God's help thou wilt progress favorably in the same, for the reason that those things which have been taken their rise from arduous of faith and love of religion are accustomed always to come to a good end and termination. There is indeed no doubt, as thy highness does also acknowledge, that Ireland and all other islands which Christ the Son righteousness has illuminated, and which have received the doctrines of Christian faith, belong to the jurisdiction of St. Peter and the Holy Roman Church. What? Wherefore so much the more willing to do we grant to them that the right faith and the seed grateful to God may be planted in them. The more we perceive by examining more strictly our conscience that this will be required for us. It says, thou hast signified to us indeed, most beloved Son in Christ, that thou dost desire to enter into the island of Ireland in order to subject the people to the laws and extirpate the vices that have been there taking root, and that thou art willing to pay an annual pension to St. Peter of 1 penny from every house to preserve the rights of the churches in that land inviolate and entire. We therefore, seconding with the favor it deserves thy pious and laudable desire, granting a benignant assent to thy petition, are well pleased that for the enlargement of the bounds of the church, for the restraint of vice, for the correction of morals and the introduction of virtues, for the advancement of the Christian religion, thou should enter that island and carry out there the things that look to honor of God and its own salvation. And may the people of that land receive thee with honor and venerate thee as their master, provided always that the rights of the churches remain inviolate and entire. And saving to St. Peter and the Holy Roman Church the annual pension of 1 penny from each house. If therefore thou dost see fit to compete what thou hast conceived in thy mind, strive to imbue that people with good morals and bring it to pass, as well through thyself as through those whom thou dost know from their faith, doctrine, and course of life to be fit for such work, that the church may be adorned, the Christian religion planted and made to grow, and the things which pertain to the honor of God and salvation be so ordered that thou mayest merit to obtain an abundant and lasting reward from God, and on earth a name glorious throughout the ages. So that was a papal bull from Pope Adrian talking about invading Ireland. So you see on this website they got, the 15th century. It got privileges and prerogatives granted by the Catholic majesties to Christopher Columbus. Oh my God, I don't even want to know what this thing say. I gotta click it, y'all. Oh my God. This is 1492, boy. Ferdinand and Elizabeth, by the grace of God. See? You see how they're using God to come over here and unalive our people? Every document is talking about God told them to do this. God made them your master. God told them that you are, you know, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. It says, I'm not going to read this whole thing. We might read this another one. The privileges and prerogatives granted by their Catholic majesties to Christopher Columbus, 1492. See, this is why I said the Catholic Church, the Christianity ordained these colonizers to come over here and unalive us because we were not Christians. And they told them that they could seize the land, have the oceans, have the waters, have anything they wanted. Now, this document is in the 1400s. This is 100 years before the one that I just read. But I'm not going to read all of this. But if you have a chance, go to this website and just read this. Because it is just very shocking how, you know, it's just crazy. It's just crazy, guys. Now, y'all know how evil Christopher Columbus is. They basically, you know, eradicate a lot of the melanated autochthonous Amerindians, Olmecs, Egyptians on this land, reclassify everything. That's why reading the Christopher Columbus journal has to be like part one of you waking up to who you truly are. There's no way you can get around to knowing who you truly are unless you read the Christopher Columbus journal, the first journal. I mean, the time when he first got here, he was trafficking and stealing people, and you know, they unalived so many people. It's just sad, and they did it all in the name of the Catholic Church, right? It's just sad. I have to just read this quickly, guys, because it's just like, what the fuck? I'm going to be done after this, but it's just, I have to read this. It's called The Privileges and Prerogatives Granted by the Catholic Majesties to Christopher Columbus, 1492. It's just sad. So, if you want to read it, you will have to go to avalon.law.yale.edu where you can get all of these documents. Any document you want to read, it needs to be more of us breaking this stuff down. But I'm going to read this real quick, and then I'm going to wrap it up. But this is who Christopher Columbus got his mission from, to come over here and just destroy anything in his path. Ferdinand and Elizabeth, by the grace of God, King and Queen Castile of Leon, of Aragon, of Sicily, of Granada, of Toledo, of Valencia, of Galicia, of Morocco, of Minorca, of Seville, of Sardinia, of Jaen, of Argov, of Algeciras, of Gibraltar, of the Canary Islands, Count and Countess of Barcelona, Lord and Lady of Biscay, Molina, Duke and Duchess of Athens and Neopatria, Count and Countess of Roussillon, and Cardigo, Marquise, and Marchioness of Ostion, something. Okay, that wasn't said at the beginning. It says, for as much of you, Christopher Columbus, are going by our command with some of our vessels and men to discover and subdue some islands and continent in the ocean, it is hoped that by God's assistance, they said by God's assistance, some of the said islands and continent in the ocean will be discovered and conquered by means and conduct. Discovered and conquered. Therefore, it is but just and reasonable that since you expose yourself to such danger to serve us, you should be rewarded for it. And we, being willing to honor and favor you for the reasons aforesaid, our will is that you, Christopher Columbus, after discovering and conquering the said islands and continent in the said ocean, or any of them, shall be our admiral of the said islands and continent you shall so discover and conquer. And that you be our admiral, viceroy, and governor in them, and that for the future you may call and style yourself D. Christopher Columbus, and that your sons and successors in said employment may call themselves Don Admirals, viceroys, and governors of them, and that you may exercise the office of admiral with the charge of viceroy and governor of said islands in the continent, which you and your lieutenant shall conquer, and freely decide all causes, civil and criminal. How you doing that? Appertaining to the said employment of admiral, viceroy, and governor, as you shall think fit in justice, and as the admirals of our kingdoms used to do, and that you have power to punish offenders. You and your lieutenants exercise the employments of admirals, viceroy, and governor in all things belonging to the said offices, or any of them, and that you enjoy the prerequisites and salaries belonging to said employments, and to each of them in the same manner as the high admiral of our kingdom does. And by this letter, or a copy of it signed by a public notary, we command Prince John, our most dearly beloved son, the infants, dukes, prelates, marquises, great masters, and military orders, priors, commanderies, our counselors, judges, and other officers of justice whatsoever belonging courts and chancery, and constables of castles, strong houses, and others, and all corporations, bailiffs, governors, judges, commanders, sea officers, and the aldermen, common council officers, and good people of all cities, lands, and places in our kingdoms and dominions, and in those you shall conquer and subdue, and the captains, masters, mates, and other officers and sailors, our natural subjects now being, or that shall be for the time to come, and any of them that when you shall have discovered said islands and continent in the ocean, and you or any that shall have your commission, shall have taken the usual oath in such cases, that they for the future look upon you as long as you live, and after you your son and heir, so from one heir to another forever, as our admiral on our said ocean, and as viceroy governor of said islands and continent. By you, Christopher Columbus, discovered and conquered, that they treat you and your lieutenants by appointed for executing employments of admiral, viceroy, and governor as such in respects, and give you all the prerequisites and other things belonging appertaining to said office, and allow and cause to be allowed you. Where am I? It says, concerning all which things, if it be requisite that you shall desire, we command our chancellors, notaries, all these other people, officers, to pass, seal, and deliver to you our letter of privilege in such form and legal manner as you shall require and stand in need, and that none of them presume to do anything to the contrary, upon pain of our displeasure and forfeiture of 30 ducats for each offense. And we command him, we shall show them this our letter, that he summoned them to appear before us in the court, where we shall then be within 15 days after such summons, under the said penalty, under which same we also command King, Queen, Elizabeth, blah, 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 blah. So this is the type of stuff that, it's not fun, but this is in the law library, so I don't expect a lot of people to go here or read this stuff, because it's law. This is stuff that they was writing in law across the ocean for us, and it's really kind of sad. But you can find treaties in here, especially in the 17th century from the 1600s to 1699. This is when they were coming over, doing all of these companies, doing all of these charters. They have a charter in here for Carolina. They have a charter for Connecticut. They have a charter for Massachusetts, New England, Maryland, Pennsylvania. They have all other charters in here. Let me just click on the charter for Carolina. I'm not going to read it, but the charter for Carolina was 1663. So in order for them to take it, they had to make a charter, say that they own the fish, the land, the sea, all of that. That's what's in the charter. Who was going to colonize it. And they just got more and more colonies. So the charter for Carolina is 1663. The one we read earlier, the first charter for Virginia was 1606. You know what I mean? So they spent a lot of time making these charters and stealing the land and doing slave raiding. This is where slave raiding come from. The slave raiders actually got a badge in 1705. So the whole time before that, they were doing this without an actual name, just going, surprising attacking people. Having these charters was saying, hey, I got this charter from over here on the other side of the world that says I own this water and this fish. You know, it sounds crazy as hell. The charter of the colony of New Plymouth. It's just so many charters in here. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. It's just so much to read. Like, you can't even make it up. English Bill of Rights. What? Frame of Government of Pennsylvania. And right now I'm just looking, I'm just strolling to see all of this knowledge that we can look at. The Mayflower Compact. What the hell is this? Wow, the Mayflower Compact. That is crazy, guys. The Mayflower Compact. Second charter of Virginia, the third charter of Virginia. Lord. And they're saying, and they always saying the Almighty God while they're stealing land and unaliving people. It's sad. And they have all of these people's names listed on here who stole the land. It has all of their names listed on here. All of them. All of them. It's crazy. Let me show y'all on TikTok. I don't know if nobody in here, but look at all these names. All the people in the second charter. This is all names. All of this is names. It's just names of people who came over here, stole the land. Look at all these names, guys. All of these names. It just go on and on. All these names. And their successors. So this is the second charter of Virginia. You see it's saying by the grace of God, King of England. You know, they said they were coming over here to make a habitation and plantation, you know, of sundry of our people. Oh, y'all can't even see it. Hold on, let me flip it. Flip the camera. So let's go back. So this is the second Virginia charter. This is 3 years later. Now look at all these names and see they colonizing by the grace of God. They always using God. You know, this is why Christianity is dangerous, because this belongs to colonizers. And this is giving all of these people, these are all names. Every one of these people is a name who colonized Virginia back in those times. You see all the people that came after, all of these are names. Every single one of them is a name. You say for the first colony of Virginia. That's crazy, right? That's crazy, right? That's crazy. And it says it's giving them the right to the soil, the grounds, the ports, the royal mines. It said the royal mines of gold and silver, minerals, pearls, stones, woods. It gave them all of our waters, all of our fish, commodities, royalties, privileges, all of this.
It gave all those people all of our stuff just because they think they wrote it down. They think that they can hold it. It say to have and hold and possess and enjoy all said lands and territories. Look at that. That's crazy, right? That's crazy, right? That's crazy. They hereby establish and ordain all of these people. It's just going on and on and on and on about. I'm not going to read this right now, but you can go and read it for yourself. It just go on and on about all the things. And look here, guys. It's still talking about trafficking. Trafficking. This is in their document. Trafficking. Every time. Trafficking, colonies, plantations. To determine to live together in the fear and the true worship of Almighty God and profit. This is crazy, right? This is crazy. My phone about to die on y'all TikTok. My phone is on 4%, but y'all kind of get the message. So sad. What's up, Chief Secret 9? Yes, this is... Oh, before I hang up, let me show y'all where to go to get all of these documents. Let me show y'all where to go before it die. You go to avalon.law.yale.edu. It's the Avalon Project. And they got every document you want. They got the 15th century documents. They got the medieval documents. They got the 17th century documents. This is where it get heavy and deep. All of these charters for Carolina, Maryland. This is how they formed all of these states to steal our land, our ocean, our fishes. They got the 18th century documents. You see it's talking about slavery and all this other stuff here. All the articles when they started to lie. Just all these documents. The charter for Georgia, Delaware. If you want to read about where you are, go read these charters. The Constitution. Now, they had the charter, then they created the constitutions, right? Then you got the 20th century. So I'm just saying it's going to take a whole team of us to go and break all of this stuff down, man. It just take a whole team. Stay on target. Yes, yeah, ain't no way, right? But I'm happy y'all sat with me to read through this document. I know it's not the funnest thing to do, but knowledge is power, and I'm all about getting knowledge, and that's why sometimes I read things that aren't so fun to read, like the Christopher Columbus Journal. But go to this project, find you something interesting to read about where you are, and see the type of language that they use. If you're trying to unlock the code, this is where all the stuff is hidden. It's in the law library, and it's free. You don't have to pay for it. Go and read. This is the documents on law, you know. What's going on? Thank y'all for liking the live. I'm going to get off of here on TikTok. Hopefully we met our goal of 1K hearts. Okay, we met our goal of 1K hearts. I couldn't see the progress. We got 2.3K hearts. Yay. Law library. Yes, we digging into the law library. So these are things that people aren't going to go and read. But, you know, if you like me, in order to be a leader, you must be a reader. And this is where we have to continue to break down these documents to see what happened. How was the land and the ocean and the water? And even the fish, they said they was stealing. They said you own the fish. You go over there, you own the water, the lake, anything you see, you own it. Even the people. That's what they call us, chattel slavery. Because in those documents, they talk repeatedly about chattel. So they're saying you're their animal, basically. The fuck? You can't make this stuff up, guys. But I will see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you are liking, sharing, subscribing, following. Thank you for watching and tuning in to the Hood to Hooded podcast. We're going to continue to grow here, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Thank you, Alfredo, for tapping in. Chief Sacred 9 for tapping in. Painful reality. Actual facts. Yes, yes. Definitely actual facts. Secret student teacher of Dr. York. What? Dr. York. So what the next move to equality? I thought you were have been Nubian queen. I think the secretive move to equality is to reverse what they have done. They have done a lot. As you can see, all of these documents they just been writing and writing and writing and writing. Once they learned how to write, they was just writing everything down. And we didn't have any idea that they were writing all of this stuff to come and colonize us over here. They got documents, and it's like, where you get that from, you know? So, I don't know, guys. The first thing, like Frederick Douglass said, knowledge makes you unfit to be a slave. So first we have to unlock the minds of people who are caught up in their mission to Christianize the whole planet, basically. So they have been pretty successful in doing that. They've been pretty successful in their mission, which makes you docile and very weak. And that's the biggest battle that we have to fight, is the knowledge, because they're fighting us with the pen. As you can see, they've been writing. And it didn't matter if it was writing evil. If they put God name in it, they felt like it was good. So they was going to church talking about unaliving people and seizing land. That's what they was doing in the Catholic Church. Making papal bulls and sending out decrees, and, it's just all evil. Evil does not last forever. And I'm going to leave it at that. Alright? So, I will holla. Thank y'all for tapping in. Bye. Thank you for tapping those hearts. 2.8K. Hey. I appreciate it. And I'm about to hang up before my phone die on you guys. Yeah, but thank y'all for tapping the hearts. Every time I go and I read these all historic documents, they just leave me baffled. Like, I just can't believe some of the things that they be writing. Like, what? Like, I just can't believe it. Can't believe it at all. But yeah. No. I can't believe it. So I don't know the magic answer for what's next. I don't even know. I can't even hold you. I just know that something has to change. Like, something has to change. We can't just continue to stay asleep. And a lot of people are waking up. It's not the same way it was 20 years ago. People are actually waking up. Okay? Because the Niji is back. Wadio are great. The Niji back, y'all. We never left, really, but